All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Uh, let's see. Yesterday I left you guys with some shorts. All that stuff panned out uh, in a few hours after our live session. I suggested to the group before my bedtime that we should be buying lows somewhere near 920. It made its way to 935. And so we came to about a box and a half shy of the target I was looking for. And so those of you that bought on the way down, you made off handsomely. And so now that we are near the top, we have broken out of the triangle. I'm just going to wait a few more minutes, let a couple more people come in, and then we'll go over the whole procedure. But having broken out of the triangle, we know this is not going to the moon today, right? So we're going to be selling anything that's above and beyond the averages. And so I'm testing right here, right now. I have been buying for about an hour or so. I want to be buying support, uh, thinking that we might be retesting the the existing high. And the reason why this level here is so critical is because let's go back to this chart here. It's the high of the mother bar. That's the inside bar that we've been in all week, right? So we've been inside of this big green mother bar here, and so that comes in at 1010. And if we stay below that, I want to start selling as we approach there and or a little bit above, right? But I'm a buyer to get up there, right? So I'm buying support, trying to get up to 1010. Once we get to 1010, anything above, I'll be selling it for today. I might be buying it tomorrow, but I'm selling it for today. Okay, so uh, there's a few more people in. There we go. I can. All right, so everybody's in. We can get the show started. Right, so looking at the calendar, all of the major news events have already come out. There's really nothing left to come in this session that we're working together. And so tomorrow is the big event, right? Tomorrow morning, prior to the live session, we'll have the big the big major event of the week, and then when we get together thereafter, we still have some news coming through. So tomorrow will be eventful. Today, uh, you know, the major events already come out, so we can disregard the calendar. The big move already happened. It's clear to see, right? If we compare today with yesterday, the low is inside of yesterday, but the high is clearly higher. And if we measure today, just what today has done by itself, we're already at 68. We expect an average of 76, so another box or so. And that's kind of what I have set up here, right? I'm waiting for one extra box. And so I'm buying support, not with the hope that we're going up, but with the intent that we're going to see it go up, right? So I'm ready to fix this if I have to. I'm ready to fight for this position, right? So it's not a hope thing. It's tactful. It's tactful. Like I have a plan, I have a process, I have a reason for doing this, right? So it's this upper limit. I'm hoping, and I said the word hope again, I'm hoping that it will contain the price until tomorrow, right? So that's kind of the idea. I'm hoping we're going to get there, come back, retest the break, and then hang out until the PCE tomorrow, and then that will determine if we go higher or go back lower. Right? So remember, we're only here for 1 day at a time, couple hours at a time. Right? So when we're doing this, we're looking at a group of traders, a very specific group of traders. Right? Themselves, they only care for today's candle to close, so they'll know what to do tomorrow with this information. Just like a lot of these guys are positioning themselves today based on what yesterday's close is telling them. Right? So here's box number 2 pulling back. I want to buy this. Right? I'm just going to move my line down. I have 3 trades in the upper box, so I'll put 3 trades in the lower box. And so now my break even is between the 2 boxes. Right? And I'm still thinking we're going to get here on my shift. Right? So I'm looking for a move up from some kind of support. Right? So this right here could be support. Right? Let's go look at that on an hourly scale. Right? How did we get up there on an hourly scale? Well, it's did not quite make it to the edge of the triangle, which is where I was hoping to be buying. Right? Instead, it made it halfway there. Right? It made it halfway and then it took off. Now that we've reached some kind of resistance, we're backing off back to support. And it's not some random support. No, if we look left, we're testing what was once resistance. Right? So this expectancy of ours is contained to the range that we see on the hourly chart, right? The floor and the ceiling that we see here. And that's what happens. We test one or the other. And we tend to do this because of me showing up on time. I tend to do this in my 2-hour window. And so I would expect to be testing the high on my shift, right? Or maybe test the low on my shift, right? Anything can happen. The news has already come out. And so, the big killer wave that everybody is waiting for has already fizzled away, right? So now we're just playing for a normal market in a normal environment. When we look at the ADR, we know we're short about 10 pips or so. And so you have to assume is that 10 pips going to be added to the low of the day, or is it going to be added to the top of the day before we create a wick? Right? So this assumption of ours is what we trade, and then we look at that assumption internally. Right? So now on a 5-minute chart in this zone here, your ceiling is above, your floor is below, but looking left, you have all this information that you can trade off of. Right? So all of these little levels here, and then stuff in between this starts to highlight action points, right? Where you need to take action, where there might be, where there probably is something for you to do. Right? So some of these lines go all the way back, right? Something like this, that goes all the way back. And so it's okay to look left, right? But you don't have to assume it's going all the way back to like months ago, right? Look where we came to. Right now, we're testing the edge of our trend line. Right, so let's see if that holds. And then if we go back up and test this, right? So measuring this current move, put your boxes on the high, put this box on the break right here. We can see how we broke there. So that gives us this box that permits us to spend a third box worth of money. So happens to line up with support. Right? I've only put 3 trades in each box above. And so I'll try to limit myself to 3 trades in this box, just like so. And so now I have 3 extra trades that I did not spend, right? 1 in each. So that leaves me 3 extras. Where am I going to put those? Well, maybe I'll put them in box number 4, where I'm already allotted, more trades. So it's like I'm banking for the future, right? I'm saving a couple of trades from each box so that I can put them later. Right? There's a million ways to get to the outcome. It's up to you to engineer a way there. Right? That white line is how I make my money above it, or I get out with little to no pain. Right? This is pain. Right? So our job is to figure out a way. The minute you see break even, it's wise to take it, right? Considering what created break even, right? It's a bad trade that turned around and now is shining. Take it as soon as it's presented, because it may not go any further, right? And I'm sure you've all done this. You know, it comes back and we want that extra 5 pip or so, and it doesn't give it, and then we don't take break even. And that's why that white line is so important, right? If I can get there, I already understand the situation that I'm in, and I can gauge and decide if it's wise to, book the loss or cling on to the position. It's this idea that over time of day, situationally, how many standard deviations you've moved already, all these clues add up to a probability, and you play that probability. So your job, your mission, is to do this information gathering, following the same steps every day. Right? You start on the daily, then you progress your way downward. All right. So this right here is what we're testing. Right? Right there. Okay. So let's see what happens in the next hour, 45 minutes. If we are up here, you want to become a seller up there. Only for today, right? It may go to the moon in the new year, but not 4 days before Christmas. So yeah, things went well for those following this method during the week. I think we called it pretty good throughout the week. I think everybody here has made money, and if anyone's lost or was pushed into a corner or painted into a corner, it would probably happen around a news event. And that's the behavior we're learning, right? We're approaching the calendar like a what not to do list, right? We know what not to trade if we look at the calendar. And so it's all about avoiding these things. And then sometimes that costs money. That's okay. That's perfectly fine. Anything to avoid the risk, even at the cost of giving back some profits. Right. So our average is now retreating because I'm closing trades. If I see a red candle, I'll reopen my trades. Right? I'll reset my trades. I want to be able to recycle the money, the risk that's already allowed to be there. Right? So it's not like I'm taking on extra risk. Those trades closed. Here's that red candle that I want to buy into. 1, 2, and I'll save 1 for the bottom of the box. Okay, so yeah, this may sound like a broken record, but it is the repetition, you know, that 10,000 practice of the same kick. Well, I'm practicing the same kick 10,000 times. I happen to be doing it with an audience, right? So if you happen to be thinking, I'm thinking out loud, you just happen to be listening to me think out loud, right? So if we suspect this is a low, we can put our box there, take this box, put it on the break, the new break right here. Take this box, put it aside, and now we're playing in this zone, and we're, you know, hoping to behave around here, right? So we know we're trying to make money in one direction. We're waiting for the probabilities to present themselves like such, and then we can take that trade. I'm repeating the same two trades over and over. Right? Couple here, a couple there, a couple there. Ultimately, I'm trying to test the upper end of the range before I become a seller. Much like what we did yesterday, right? So a lot of what happened yesterday was bullish on the way up, and then we retreated and flipped to bearish for the second half. I think that's what we're going to be doing again, right? So we want to be bullish for this first leg, and once we reach ultimately an average daily range, which happens to align with the top of the mother bar, 1010, right there. And so if we get to this level, anything above it is an overextension and it warrants to be sold, right? It's just the probabilities speaking for themselves. So now pulling back into box number one, I want to put a couple trades in here, right? If I find support, maybe between these three candles here, that'd be a good place to buy, right? Right there. I just took one trade. We'll see. If it reaches this level here, I'll buy more. Right, there we go. I need another red candle or some kind of rejection, right? We need to retest the edge of this box here for me to get in. We're testing this resistance, see if we break through. That resistance holds, that might give me an entry right there. Oh, I missed it. Another red candle, I'd gladly buy it. It's just a probability that support is stronger than that resistance. Oh, red candle. Another, there we go. Now I have 6 trades between 2 boxes. There's 7 trades between 2 boxes. I'm saving one for here. So if we go and check on our daily chart, just to, not to beat a dead horse, but to just double check what we created. So there's the cup, there's the handle. We broke out of the triangle, but we haven't broken out of the cup yet. That I think we're saving for either next week or next year. Right. So I think tomorrow's news, because it's US driven and we don't want to fight PCE. It's the it's the Fed's favorite measure of inflation. And so not going against the grain, all of this might be false right here. Right. And so with tomorrow's news, we might be coming back down. And so this is why I'm really adamant to sell the mother bar. I want to sell this mother bar right there. And the sell can be fixed, right? It defines my risk. I'm taking the probability that nobody else is willing to take. And so that's, for me, is intraday, and it's short lived. And it's not because I have a I don't have anything against the euro going up. I just don't think it's going to the moon today, right? So I have to have limits, and I have to know where to implement those, right? So we did that already. And if we go down to an hourly chart, you can now identify where your floor is, where your ceiling is. And ultimately the real ceiling is that mother bar, right? Or the measure bar. It was normally referred to. And so if we get there, we want to sell this for today. Right? Anything above, we know it might be going up, but for now, for us, that's a sell. Right? So then if you go down to a 5-minute chart and you create that ladder, the ladder itself will tell you where and when you need to either add or remove to your buys or your sells. Right? So you're adding to your wins or you're removing some of your losses. Right? So now on that 5-minute chart, that's like a map. Your navigator is looking at the map and he's telling you what's coming up next. And you, the driver of the rally car, are listening to the navigator, and there might be something up here because he told you so. Right? But until you get there, you have to trade the facts. You have to trade what's really in front of you. Right? So one leads the way and one literally trades the way. All right, so now I'm waiting for an entry so I can click a couple more. Yeah, I woke up to some Pink Floyd on the radio today. It was kind of nice. Comfortably numb first thing in the morning. There we go. I'm back to 6 trades now. I want to pace myself. I don't want to push the upper limit of my boxes. I don't want to go 4 or 5 trades per box. Considering this illiquid market and the lack of participant, and the anything can happen at any time kind of stuff, that's really the key, right? At this time of year, anything can happen. You want your Christmas ruined? Put it all on the line. Right? So yeah, I really don't want to end the year on an exclamation point. So I'd rather end the year under my terms. All right. So slowly but surely, here's a way in. If you're not in yet, that would be support. That would be a good place to take a trade. Like so. Right? We're just trying to keep that moving average, sorry, that average price in our line of sight. Right? So right now it's only 5 pips away from me. It's like a tripwire. right? I'm setting this up so that the market has no choice but to run over it if it's heading that way, which I surmised it was a little bit earlier. If I'm wrong, I'll know when we get to box 3 and 4. And by then, I'll be looking for breaking even. I'll be engineering an exit, which is away from 36 pips. Right? So you'll notice the approach is to decipher, gather the puzzle pieces, figure out the direction that you want to trade. So the dominant or the probability. And then once you have that probability in hand, you structure things to exploit its next move. Right? So the next move could be opposite to what the market's trying to do, like what I'm seeing here. Right? A pullback, time of day. This is all common practice. Right? I show up at 8 o'clock. I show up at or near the high of the day. I start to participate in a pullback because I expect a slightly higher market, which then I become usually the opposite player for. Right, so it kind of revolves around the same rhythm. Right? I show up on time. I'm somewhere because of that, and then my positioning at that time gives me, the runway that I need to make the money. Right, and if I'm wrong, that's perfectly fine. There's nothing that says you must be okay all the time. And so if things are falling apart from under your feet, if they're pulling the rug, if it's happening too fast, bail, just get out, be scared. Right? There are reasons to execute, against your plan. Plan A says try to go up. Plan B says add to your trade, but all of a sudden the market drops to plan Z. There's a reason why you're trying to eject. Right? There's a reason why that long tail is taking you out. Don't sit there and drag that stop loss further away. Let it take you out. Right, so here's a little bit of support. Let's take a trade here. Right, all I'm trying to do is spread my trades evenly. And if they recycle, if they close, it's an opportunity to reopen a few trades. And if the market has something else in mind, a different outcome, it's up to me to decipher that when we start breaking lows, when we start, going through the ladder, and then ultimately the goal is a move like this, in my favor, back to break even, which is for me to engineer. Okay, so I'm going to slow down with my clicks, and I'm just going to see if I can recycle the next couple of entries. I've already put 8 trades on between those 2 boxes, right? And I already said earlier, I don't want to push the limit per box, right? So let them recycle and reopen. I had a few trades over here. I think it was, right here. And then we started as a group over here. All of our yesterday's positioning worked out beautifully. We all got paid for yesterday's work. Then if you leave the casino, or if you left the casino, that money was yours to keep, right? So repeat and don't overdo it, right? Strangely, this is one business where working overtime will actually rip you off. All right, so I'm down to 7 trades. I'll take it back. Yeah, with nothing on the chart like this, it feels like we trade like a Spartan, right? You have your spear to make money, and you have your shield to protect yourself with, and that's about it. If you make money, you can extend your shield. You can make your shield bigger, open up your sandbox, or you can extend your spear, you know, use the house money and reinvest into your wins. Um, Trading as a Spartan is really, really simple. It just requires a little bit of logic. All right, so here we are recycling more trades. This could totally flop and go, boxes and boxes and boxes in the wrong direction. As such, I'll deal with it in due time when I see it. Right, I'm not going to panic beforehand. I probably won't even panic if it does happen. So it's this no need to panic kind of psychology. These are just numbers on the screen. My real purpose for panic revolves around my health and stuff. So uh, those conditions I deal with outside of trading. So here it's really just, you know, do what you got to do to get the job done. And then in the environment you're doing it in is what is teaching you. And because you're showing up on time, the same environment, you're getting the same teacher every day. You're just getting a new lesson every day. No, practice the skills you have, but do it at the same time. So we're not looking for miracles. We just want standard deviations upon standard deviations. And because our mind is always on the next move, like a chess player, we know we can't win a game of chess without losing some pieces along the way. And so here's the same idea. I'm hoping to not lose trades along the way, but if I position myself and I exploit the next move, statistically speaking, I can survive pullbacks because they're average. And so now it's a matter of surviving average, right? This move right here, caused by a news event, was 31 pips. And we can survive this. All right, so let us recycle 5 trades. We're down to 3 now. The waiting's the hardest. Testing that resistance over here, hoping to see that fail and break through. If it holds and it pushes back down again, if this holds, I want to buy down here. All right, so what have we done so far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 17 or so trades. Anybody follow along? Probably you've met your targets already. So remember what the objectives are, right? Today's mission, if you choose to take it, will be to trade up to 1010 and then become a seller. Right? Now destroy that tape. It's not an impossible mission. It's just, with patience, you can buy the red candles for the right purpose. And then with that little bit of that same patience, you can also sell green candles under the right conditions. Right. So it's all about the positioning and the timing that you take your action. Right. It's this execution. Time your execution. And they say you can't time the market. All right. So is this break even? Right. Is this where it's going to stop and go back down? Right. That would be disastrous. If it fails to actually go up and just decides to fold. Right. So I'm positioned myself to see a higher high. Right. That's what this was for all the way back here. Right. And now that remains the main objective. I'm still adamant, my goal is to test 10-10. And so I'm willing to fight for that. That's what these boxes were. Right. And so as such, I still want to be buying red candles until I, get to mission impossible, right? Get to be a seller on a green day, right? Sell it to the people that think it's going to the moon. No, 4 days before Christmas. I think what keeps me motivated, what keeps me active and busy doing this is me just taking the screen and doing this. uh, it's just, oh yeah, I'm doing something. I'm trading. See, look, I'm so trading. It's I'm always looking to not focus, but to find a trade. It's this looking for an opportunity. I know there's support or resistance literally every 3 pips. I just don't know which one is the killer one. I don't know which one's the one. And so our job is to assess. And if you have one direction, assess in that one direction. You're likely going to survive the drawdowns. If you create updraw for yourself, and so that's like going back to the Spartan analogy. If you walk up to your computer and you're in the money from, keeping a trade open the day before, that extends your spear. It gives you longer reach, more money to trade with, or it opens up your sandbox. It gives you a bigger shield, you know, more room to work with, right? It's not free money, but it's money you can use for something. And so, yeah, um, trade like a Spartan, sparingly. You don't need a lot. You need nothing. A little piece of cloth in front of your dink. Right, here's where we want to buy. I just put four four trades there. I'm really trying to bring down the average costs. I'm bringing down my average price for all my trades all at once, and then I just want to be in and out if I can. right? So here's that support that I'm testing, and I'm testing this to see if this will finally break. We tested it once. No, we tested it once. It pushed us back. I want to see if we can test it again and break on through. Right. So in this zone here, you could have plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D. There's multiple levels for you to choose to be a buyer. Right. And remember, it's not going to the moon. Right? We're just testing resistance. Yeah, there's this analogy was related to me years and years ago, and it always rang true. It always made sense because this money, the profits, you can reinvest them. You can add them to your already winning trades. So you open an even bigger trade, but that requires skill and management. It's not something you set and forget, right? Because you are taking on more risk. Nothing's free. Even the wins are not free until you leave the market, and then it's risk free, right? So this risk free business is what we aim to do. That's what I aim to be every day, risk free. And so doing it at the expense of somebody else, I have to do it with time, because I know if I try to work overtime, the people that I'm looking for to exit my position with are not there. You know, the buyers that I'm relying on are not there. The sellers that I'm relying on are not there. And so I have to do business when business is worthy of being conducted. And so, yeah, a lot of what we're doing is in the beginning all trial and error. You just don't know. Nobody told you any better. And then it was the same for me. And then I sought help, and the people that helped me out tuned me into the X axis. And instantaneously, the string of Christmas lights started to blink. There were still burnt bulbs, but I was getting light. And so, yeah, it was really different once I started introducing more data into my analysis. And the missing bit, the missing piece was the time cycle. How many bars, how long is an average move? How long is an average move? Not how big, not how far it moves, but how many candlesticks is it? Right? How many 1 minutes did it take? How many 5 minutes did it take? How many hours did it take? Right? And then you come to realize there's an average here. And then when we exceed this average, like what we're doing here, you expect something to come from this. There's a reason why I put most of my trade all at that level, because that was the average. Right? So I use the average as a guide, and this is moving beyond the average, right? No panic, no stress. I still have money in the coffers. I can still build the position that I'm looking to build. I can add right here. I'll put 2 right there, right? And so now I just brought my white line closer. It's now within 7 pips, readily, it's reachable, it's available, it's doable. The market doesn't have to go a million miles to make me money. That's the idea, right? You have to keep yourself grounded and think about your next move. Right? Let's see what happens from here. If it keeps going down, we deal with it. Right? And so over time, as we recycle some of these trades, the recycling may require you close a couple of the top losers there. Right? And even if you close them and the market goes to that red line, oh well, you did what you had to do. Right? Surviving is way more important than making money. Make a note of that. Paste it somewhere on your monitor. right? You're not here to win. You're here to, well, actually, you're here to survive. So therefore, you're here to win. But surviving is a priority, right? Winning is the byproduct of surviving. All right. Keep recycling, right? If I can pull back just a ever so tiny sliver, I'll take one. There you go. 10 minutes or so. We're hoping to push slightly higher so we can sell, right? That remains our mission. Nothing's changed. Fantastic. That's what we want to see. More of that. Right, so red candle, recycle. I put 2 on there. Slow and steady. The account is growing slow and steady. The consistency, I think, is our should is always our main objective, right? It should always be and is always our main objective. It's all about the 3 pips overwhelming whatever losses I have to book, right? I know I'm going to have to book losses, but I can wipe them away. I can wash them away. I can erase them if I just keep booking losses. If I can keep booking wins, 3 pips, 3 pips, 3 pips. If I get back on my horse, right? So losing 1 or 2 trades once in a while, they'll be less than 36, right? If you did your job, and then those losses are manageable, right? The long tail stop is a opportunity. It's not a problem, right? Swing traders see their stop loss as a problem. They rely on it as an exit. We don't rely on this to get out. Hell no. I rely on this to save me in case of, you know, world mayhem. I want to save myself if I can before the stop loss. And so keep thinking about solutioning whatever problem you created. Right? You don't try to create a problem, but if you happen to be in one, the solution is in your toolbox. Let's see if we can test the high. We don't have far to go. Uh, Less than 3 boxes, less than 4 boxes actually. So yeah, that's, it's doable. We tested the break a couple of times. It does make sense that we go a little bit higher. It also makes sense that, considering Christmas and all that good stuff, that we just come and hang out down here. Anything can happen, right? So it's this getting ready, uh, focus on your 2 hours per day, run it like a business, consider yourself an employee of your business, and don't work overtime because you won't get paid for it. Right? We're just looking to see if we can bounce from here. Let's take one. I just don't want to go too heavy. I'm already at 11. Show and tell, I tell you. This is where the fun starts. That's positioning for the rest of the day if we get up there. Okay, so let's see if I can maybe get another recycled trade. Are you guys winning over there? There's about 14 of us in the room. There should be 14 winners. That's awesome. Great. Fantastic. 2.8%. Yeah, baby. Don't tell that to your banker. They're going to charge you more for shit. Yeah. It's, you know, the minute people find out you have a cash cow in the barn, they want to come visit. It's fantastic. The skill is transferable, right? It's like, well, you guys know musical instruments, right? If you can transfer the skill, it feels awesome, both for the teacher and the student. And any student out there, if you ask them to repeat what they just learned, the first words out of their mouth is always, "Oh, I can't. I'm not good enough." That's what traders are like, right? Where until you know the tune, until you're good enough for yourself, you're afraid to show off. You're afraid to do it in front of people. And that's my evolution. That's what's happening to me. I myself, I was trading by myself, and then I started showing one on one, and now I'm showing 20 of us. It's graduated. It doesn't happen overnight, but it's, I think, a stepping stone, and it's a necessary evil. The skill is transferable. Eventually try and transfer it, even if it's to your own kids. It will make you a better trader. All right, try to buy some of this if you can. I'm already too heavy, so I won't. But if you can buy that, go ahead. We're just looking for ever so slightly higher high. Just ever so slightly. Gold is having a similar day. If you take a look at the gold chart, it looks very, very similar to what we have here. I'm looking for a similar outcome with gold also, a high near 2055 or so. While EU should put in a high somewhere near 1010. And so I'm just using boxes to measure into the future. And I measure like Lego bricks. I just stack my boxes and I measure 2 or 3 boxes into the future. And we do that. I tend to do that from a starting point, like a swing low or a swing high. And by just stacking the boxes, it leads me to believe, oh, the target is achievable. It is within reach. It is a normal move. And so you don't give up hope, until things start to fall apart. You pull the rug from under your feet, stuff like that. And so it's this having a plan, having the conviction to see it through. It's like mission impossible. Do you choose to take on the mission? If you do, destroy the tape or it will self destruct. Yeah, this is awesome. The transferable skill, I never realized, but I think for me it's the best part of this. It uh, I love the ability to not show off, but to show people that they can do that too, right? And so, yeah, I never saw myself as any kind of a teacher. You know, I always liked working alone. Even today, I enjoy working alone. I don't mind spending the holidays alone. And so, yeah, this is it. You know, I think the job we chose, the career we chose, the calling we have found is it's not for everyone, but it's definitely suited for us. Right. So I just closed one, I reopened one. Super lucky? No way, man. I am. I'm actually I'm quite pleased to have, you know, I never thought I'd have this little community a year or so ago, 2 years ago. And so yeah, the idea that I myself have just, you know, gotten this little Jasper Forex off the ground is pretty cool. I do trade, you know, the family office and stuff, but it's different. It's supervised. It's somebody else's money. You know, it's grandpa and grandma and bylaws and rules. And so this is more free, but I still have to be discreet. There's some stuff that I can't make public and things. This is why the new broker. This is why the new platform. There we go. All right. Sounds like a machine gun in here. All right, so I'm down to 7 open trades. If we can close just a couple more, I'd be willing to recycle. Even if it pulls back on a red candle here, I'll recycle maybe one or two. I'm gonna have to let you go within a minute or so. But we have our plan, right? So consider what's evolving here, what's happening. Consider where we're coming from on a higher time frame and where we're trying to go. Right, so we've come back, we've retested the edge of the triangle. We're trying to go and test the top of the measure bar. It's the line in the sand for today. We've been inside of that measure bar for a few days. Right, we tested it yesterday, pushed off it, made our money on the downside. Today we're making our money on the upside into uh, the upper band, only so to rotate thereafter. Right, so be ready to roll over in about an hour. Okay, I'm gonna let you guys go. Trade safely. Enjoy.